Gears takes the high road, Game Pass gets some love, and Microsoft's not giving up on Japan. What's up everybody, Brad here back again, and it's the midweek and the midweek refresh of all the gaming news, or at least the things that I think you need to know about. And so we're on the back end of Gamescom. We are heading towards Microsoft's recently announced XO event, which will be happening in London in November. Still looking on some details, but we got a smidgen of more information this week, courtesy of Mr. Aaron Greenberg. He did an interview and he talked about a wide variety of things, but granted, he didn't really nail down any details, but there are some things worth pointing out. In this interview, he says people who are in Game Pass spend about 40% more time playing games. Now, that shouldn't be a big surprise, really. I mean, you think about what Game Pass offers, right? A whole bunch of different games for one fee per month. And depending on how you got it, it could effectively be $1 per month, at least for a while. Anyways, that aside, if you haven't done that yet, definitely go convert your Xbox Live Gold to Game Pass because it is a crazy good. Anyways, that aside, everybody here knows that 40% more time gaming, that's actually a pretty big metric for Microsoft. Reason being is that the longer somebody is playing a game, longer somebody is using that Xbox, the longer that they are engaged with your platform, the easier it is to monetize that user. Now, I know everyone doesn't always like thinking about, hey, giving more money to the Microsofts. But that's a very true fact in marketing, and it makes a lot of sense, right? If you're using an Xbox, the likelihood that you're going to spend more money on while using that Xbox increases the more you're using it. It's pretty logical, but that's a big metric for Microsoft, and about 40% more time. Now, that's 40% more time than we don't know what, like if it's an hour or 10 hours or how much longer they're spending. But that is a significant milestone for Microsoft, and something that they were very likely targeting with the creation of Game Pass is getting people to use their Xbox more and use it for longer durations, because there's multiple benefits to Microsoft when that happens. So 40%, not a bad figure. And I'll be curious to see how else Microsoft tries to tweak that, because that's going to be their metric going forward. Obviously, getting people into Game Pass is the primary benchmark, right? If you look at a sales funnel obviously starts wide and comes down and narrow. And so you try to get as many people into Game Pass as possible, and then you try to hold on to them for as long as possible once they're in that sales funnel and have already signed up for the service. And so 40% of them are spending 40% more time. That's a very good needle mover for Game Pass once people are into that platform. Now, speaking of XO, which again I said is coming in November, Copperbox, we know that stuff. Aaron is saying there will be new game material announced, but it's definitely not going to be as big as E3. I can't imagine really anything. Well, maybe, I don't know. I was going to say anything being as big as E3, but if you looked at E3 this year, Sony didn't show up. So obviously things could potentially be bigger if you had an event where Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo and everybody else showed up. So look for new game stuff coming in November. Again, I don't think this is going to be the Scarlet reveal. Everyone keeps hypothesizing that, hey, they're going to show off Scarlet. I don't. This is not historically, let me just qualify that, historically how Microsoft has done things. And again, that's about a year away from the launch of Scarlet. So that it feels a little bit early. It wouldn't surprise me maybe if they dangled some information like carrots out there, but I don't think they're going to come out and say, hey, it's a 12-core, 24-thread CPU with 64 gigs of RAM. I'm just making stuff up, so please don't quote that. I don't foresee them doing that. And then also in the interview, one of the tough areas for Microsoft is Japan. And Japan has a lot of loyal buyers. They also have a lot of people playing video games over there. But Microsoft's biggest problem is that they're not a Japanese company, right? The Japanese people are typically very loyal to their homegrown companies like Sony and Nintendo. And they typically buy those consoles in bulk and at a very high rate. To every one Xbox sold is probably 25 PlayStation. It's a way out of proportion. And Microsoft has contemplated just being why don't we just give up on Japan, because clearly they're struggling there. They've historically struggled, and I honestly think they will continue to struggle. Now, granted, they have tried to get Japanese flavored titles to help move those consoles, and they work with very modest success, but not anything major. But Aaron says that, hey, we're not giving up. He says we have had a lot of success with Minecraft in Japan, which is actually a good key in for them. And it's also one of their fastest growing markets for Minecraft. And he says, we will bring a very powerful box with a great game of library of content. I think we have a lot more Japanese support than we've had previously, all those things being in our favor, but I'm always careful about setting the wrong expectations or making claims when he's talking about Japan. So just keep that in mind, that Microsoft is definitely not backing away from Japan, but it's rough road. Fun little fact, by the way, outside of the US, the fastest growing market for Microsoft's Office 365 platform is Japan. So it's not like Microsoft hasn't got inroads in the country. It's just that their gaming apparatus or mechanisms just have not clinched on when you compare them to the Sonys and the Nintendos of the world. Now, other big news, at least for me personally out this week, is that Gears 5 is not going to use the UWP or Universal Windows platform. Instead, it's going to be using Win32 in favor. Now, if you're not familiar with that, Win32 is like what you would probably think of everything on Windows, like unless it's from the store. It's very old. It's been around forever. And it's also a bit more powerful and more flexible. Now, you got to remember that Gears 5 is also coming to Steam. And so if Microsoft would have built it as a true UWP application, it wouldn't run out of Steam. It would have to come from the store. So by going back to Win32, they can obviously use both platforms. And this is fine. This is a good thing for Gears, but this is a bad thing for Microsoft's Universal Windows platform, because obviously Gears is a Microsoft title, right? They're funding the development of it, and it's not using Microsoft's previous, like, new kid on the block UWP platform like previous titles and previous games had done in the Microsoft universe. So it's really more of just kind of like hey, UWP is like, it's Schrodinger's development environment, right? It's neither here and it's also not here, because while Microsoft hasn't officially killed it yet, it's still there and people can use it, just that Microsoft is not showing it favor with their own products. And if Microsoft, the creator of UWP, is not giving UWP games and all that stuff preference, or pushing their developers towards that, it speaks about the true future of the UWP and Microsoft Store platform. So just keep that in mind. It's just a little small thing. I wonder, I'm a big fan of Microsoft's Flight Simulator, and we know that is coming, or at least there's going to be a beta of it next year. I'm crossing my fingers that I get the lucky straw and get into the alpha. But I would suspect that the Flight Simulator is more than likely using Win32 as well. Interesting. We'll have to poke around to see what's actually happening there. Anyways, that just gives me some little food for thought. Other things happening, Microsoft is letting Xbox Game Pass holders support Mixer streamers. So this is a smart move all around. Microsoft has Mixer, Microsoft has Ninja, Microsoft has Game Pass, Microsoft wants everybody to watch Mixer, Microsoft wants everybody into Game Pass. So why not join them up? And that's exactly what they're doing. So Mixer partners will receive $3 in compensation for every new member that joins Xbox Game Pass and credits their channel with a code. So this is effectively a referral system, but it's a monetization strategy for Mixer that is good for the streamers, and it's also good for Microsoft because they are getting people into Xbox Game Pass, which is what they want. It's a little you give me, I give you type scenario, a little tit for tat, and it's perfect. It's a good monetization option for Mixer, and the only thing that's befuddling at this point is why did it take so long for this to happen? But clearly there has been a resurgence inside the world of Microsoft that is trying to make Mixer a big thing. They clearly kind of let it, I don't want to say they let it just kind of like wither away on the side, but they kind of did let it wither away on the side. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, we're going to either do this or not do it. And they clearly had a big meeting, got Ninja on board, got these new monetization options. They are targeting streamers with friendly approaches, and they're trying to basically be the not Twitch of the world. Although as things grow, as you all know, as platforms continue to grow, it gets a little tougher to be fair and moderator, but Microsoft doesn't have that problem as of yet. Another question that came in this week that I thought was interesting is somebody asked, hey, should I still buy an Xbox One X today? I would love to know what the listeners think. I am personally of the favor that, hey, if you need an Xbox One today and you have a 4K TV, or you just prefer better performance, go grab an X. You will still be happy. You will still be very delighted by it. You're not going to have to worry about games on day one. I think everyone will eventually, especially listening to this, will want to go to a Scarlet. But on day one, the message from Microsoft so far is that all the key games will work on the existing Xbox and on Scarlet. So far, that is what we've been hearing, at least the big titles. And so keep that in mind. Also, you've got over a year of gaming. a year of gaming on an X. It's still, I think, a good value. It's, again, more premium. If you just want to get into Xbox gaming, just go grab an Xbox One S. Not unless you can find a really good deal on the digital edition, I would just grab just the traditional one. But yeah, I personally think you should still buy an X if you need a console today. It's a great machine. Although ironically, I'm pointing at an S. I have an X upstairs, which is where I do most of my Apex Legends slang. The other thing too worth pointing out this week that I'm super pumped about: Mario Kart Tour arrives on Android, on iOS and Android, on September 25th. I don't care who you are, Mario Kart is an awesome game. It was a big part of my childhood, and I will definitely be buying that on day one. I'm hoping that it's as good on the phone and that I can get a controller hooked up so that we can play it and have a lot of fun. But there you go, guys. That's what's happening in the gaming world this week. Hit that subscribe button. Catch all of you right back here next time.